Joe Clem, 15. Haven't made a video in a long time, but with technology now, it's kind of no excuses. I've been lazy. Since I can make a video from my phone, I might as well just upload a video. Um, so, just quick boxing thoughts of what's going on right now. We have our two juggernauts in the sport, Pacquiao and Mayweather. A lot of fans disapprove of their upcoming fights. To me, one makes sense and one doesn't. Mayweather Maidana to me makes sense. Enough of y'all were claiming that it was a draw. Anytime Floyd has had a questionable fight in jeopardy, I'm not going to say like it's been a lot of times, but last time people questioned whether he won or not was against Castillo and he rematched them. So I think that he felt that there was a reasonable enough doubt for people to think that, oh, maybe he didn't win it. Doesn't mean he lost it. Maybe a lot of people thought it was a draw. But, I guess it's kind of frustrating in that he only has a few fights left on his contract. So it's kind of like he's squandering one of his fights. I can see how that's annoying. But as far as it being, given the competitiveness of the last one, and I do think that Mayweather is personally irritated. I don't think that he felt that Maidana won, but I think that Maidana made Argentina proud, and that really fucking bothers him. So he's like, fuck that. And then given the fact that how he did it with a lot of, dirty fighting and, Maidana did what he had to do, I think Mayweather kind of wants, some revenge. He wants to humiliate him. He wants to have him go back to Argentina in shame with his head held down. So I think there is a lot of self-motivation in him fighting Maidana. But yeah, I mean, you can't deny that the last fight was competitive, and you can't, there is something intriguing about how they match up. I saw some interesting things in that fight where Floyd had to adjust, and even in the center of the ring, for somebody who started their boxing career kind of later, Maidana, he's pretty crafty. It's pretty interesting. Pacquiao and Algieri, a lot of people are complaining about this fight because Algieri, kind of is not experienced. He's not used to fighting on his levels. Like, who is this guy? To me, it doesn't make sense because Pacquiao has clearly stated that he does not like people who move around. And, Algieri's style, according to what I've seen, and I've only seen him in 2 fights, that's the epitome of what he is. He moves. He's a kickboxer. He uses legs, uses feet. He uses ring generalship. I feel like this would be, like, if I was matchmaking for Pacquiao to make him look good in a potential fight against, Mayweather or somebody, whatever the case may be, with just in general, if you want to keep Pacquiao, keep winning, or if you just want to create a good fight, Pacquiao's going to be frustrated in this fight. It's going to be irritating. I mean, Algieri's going to be on the move. It's going to be hard for Pacquiao to catch him coming in, I think. I think Pacquiao's going to have to come forward, and I think he's going to be very irritated. And, from what I saw, Algieri does take a punch fairly well. I mean, he went in there against a really hard hitter, and Bravadnikov. I don't know how long it took me to fucking pronounce his name, to learn how to pronounce his name. But anyway, he takes the punch well. He has a lot of stamina because, looking at that fight he had against Ruslan, you could tell, like, he had to be super in shape for that. He's a nutritionist. I mean, that makes sense. And he boxes. He's going to be on top of his game, and I don't know if I give Algieri a shot to win a decision. It would have to be a decision. And I just don't see him winning a decision, but I can't see it being, I could be totally wrong. I mean, in all fairness, I haven't seen Algieri against Southpaws. I haven't seen him against people who are as fast as Pacquiao. But I do know, given what we know about Pacquiao, is that he does have trouble when it comes to people sticking and moving. When Bradley would box, it would give him trouble. When Marquez would box, it would give him trouble. Luckily, I feel like Algieri is limited as a counterpuncher. He's just a pure boxer. But nonetheless, if I was Pacquiao's handlers, I would not give him that fight. See, what are some of my recent thoughts? Moving on to, okay. No doubt, unquestionable, that Golovkin is, Triple G is the hardest fucking hitter, pound for pound, in the sport. I'm not trying to sound like a hater, but if it came out later that he was taking performance enhancers, I would not be surprised. Now, I'm not saying that he does. I'm not saying that I hate him. I enjoy watching him. He's really excited, and I like the way he talks. Like, I like just the way he answers questions in interviews. He doesn't know that much English, but he knows how to call out people and say their name. And I would consider myself definitely a fan. But his punching power is just, I've never been in a situation. I mean, there are people like that throughout boxing history where it's just kind of like, yeah, I would give this guy a shot, but he just hits too damn hard. That's like something that you hear on the playground. Like, nah, man, you can't beat him. He hits too hard. That's how I feel when it comes to Triple G. Like, I'd be like, I would give this guy the edge, but Triple G hits too damn hard. This guy hits way too hard. I cannot. His last knockout against, what was it, Gil or whatever like that, man, that does not make any sense. Fighting against, from my fighting experience, that should have been a knockout on Gil's part. Triple G should have gotten knocked out. I never seen somebody get countered so perfectly and timed. They time so well and they get hit with a big power shot, and in the midst of their getting hit, they throw back their own power punch and knock somebody out. But it just, like I said, Triple G, he threw a jab. Gil slipped the jab. He slipped right. Came over the top with the right hand. This was like a basic Mike Tyson counter. Mike Tyson would do this beautifully when he used to counter over people's jabs, like taller fighters or stuff like that. It was timed perfectly. It hit Triple G solid. And like a lot of people get knocked out, if not hurt, from that punch. There was no stumble. Triple G in the middle of that, like right after or while he got hit, somehow found leverage. Could you imagine if he didn't get hit in the face and he threw his own overhand right and knocked dude down? Like, I have never, that's kind of just like unfair. Triple G should have been really hurt from that shot. It was, when you like, there's something about a counter punch that's timed. When you anticipate what somebody's gonna throw, he knew he was gonna throw a jab. He slipped right. He had his right hand cocked with leverage, ready. It was short, good technique. Bam! I would say he kind of hit him a little bit high, so maybe he took it well. Like, if it would have been lower, it might have been more helpful. But still, like, Triple G did not see that punch coming. That's another thing, another factor. Did not matter. I cannot, that dude hits way too hard. It'll be interesting to see what he does in the division. Whether he fights Peter, he's gonna he'll beat Kid Chocolate. I mean, in my opinion. And ironically, I think, I don't know if Cotto could beat him. I feel like Cotto's have more skill and could, has more skills and fighting experience, at a certain level, certain class. But this kid just hits super hard. Sometimes it's all about matchups. I could see Sergio Martinez actually giving him some problems. I have to see how Sergio bounces back and stuff like that. But, styles makes fights. That middleweight division is kind of interesting to me because I do feel like Sergio would probably give Triple G more trouble than Cotto. Did I say that right? Yeah, Sergio would give Triple G more trouble than Cotto would. I feel like Chavez Jr. would give Cotto a lot of problems. Obviously more than he gave to Sergio, because Sergio did win even though he got knocked down at the end. So that middleweight division, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how things filter out with that. As far as Cotto fighting Canelo, I also welcome that. How about Canelo? Yes, close fight it was with Lara, but Canelo he's fought the most difficult styles in the sport, from Trout to Lara to Mayweather. He's hanging in there with some very difficult styles. I'm really proud of Alvarez and him stepping up and taking really hard fights at a young age. People were criticizing him at first about that, being built up and shit. But nah, he's taken on some challenges, some really hard styles, doing his thing. So yeah, those are my thoughts so far.